welcome back to another episode of the IndyCar Show. Burnout Sports, burnoutsports.com. We get ready for Alabama coming up this weekend. We're going to look back at the first episode of the 100 Days to Indy that aired on the CW. Get you ready for the month of May, which comes up on Monday. We've got a lot of things here at Burnout Sports we're going to be excited to tell you about. Cannot wait. Let's get right into it. The CW aired 100 Days Out, the first episode. If you haven't seen it, make sure you watch it. I know you can go back on some of the streaming platforms, including the CW's app, I think Vice's app as well. I thought it was a pretty good show. I was in St. Pete, so I saw a lot of that. But, people love the behind-the-scenes type stuff. People love seeing Joseph Newgarden with his family, Scott McLaughlin and his family, Marcus Ericsson, what these guys go through, on a weekend basis when they're away from home, when they're away from Indianapolis, or in Team Penske's case, most of those guys live in Charlotte. I know Joseph lives down in Nashville. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was informative for the new person who hasn't watched IndyCar before. Maybe this is the first time that they've been exposed to it, or they have interest in it and they wanted to check it out. It's always going to get compared to Drive to Survive. And look, IndyCar is not going to manufacture drama just for the sake of a CW show. I know there was a lot of critics, including myself. Look, on a CW, don't really know about that. It aired the very same moment as the NFL draft was going on. Luckily, the Colts picked about 15 minutes before airtime for this show. But again, it was overall pretty good. Was excited to see the behind-the-scenes stuff, as mentioned. I was in St. Louis last year and got to meet Scott McLaughlin's family, his wife's side, his father-in-law, who's from New York. We talked about the Knicks, and what a great guy. So that was cool to see how Scott McLaughlin's living here in America in his third year in the NTT IndyCar series. We're going to talk about him, too, having a good result coming up at Alabama after a pretty dismal start, I think, to his standards and Team Penske standards to start the season. I really enjoyed the commentary that we saw from Hinchcliffe and Danica Patrick. I really wasn't expecting Danica to be in it, but I thought she brought some good insight. She is a household name, I think, in the United States for most people as a superstar race car driver, but also all of her marketing deals and her mainstream audience that she has. I would like to see some more Indy Radio Network calls. The IndyCar Radio Network does a great job, and I just, Lee Diffie, we heard a lot from him. Some of the calls, if they were the IMS Radio Network calls, I think would be really cool as well. Look, the rating's not going to be great. We know that. It was on a CW. A lot of people don't have that. Locally here at Indy, it was on Wish TV, and that's fine. Hopefully some of the streaming stuff will come out. We can see how many people went back and watched it. But look, I've watched shows on Netflix and other places that started on the CW, so maybe this is something down the line that would get picked up by a Netflix or a Hulu or an Amazon or whatever streaming platform what sees value in this. So really excited to see the next couple of episodes. I saw them taping a few weeks ago at the test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think we'll see a lot of Steph Wilson. They were following him around. Obviously, there's going to be the storyline of his brother Justin passing away a few years back, getting back in. So, it was close to, I think, 200,000 people was the rating for night one. Hopefully next week it'll get better, even though people might be out for Cinco de Mayo. But look, we can make excuses all we want. Hopefully it just continues to grow. But close to 200,000 is not bad. A lot of Marcus Ericsson in that, the defending Indianapolis 500 winner. Chip, can we get this guy a new contract? He is the future of the sport, as we know. Championship leader heading into Alabama. I just love Marcus. He's been a great champion. I got to interview him. If you missed that, head on over to Burnout Sports' Twitter account or Facebook page. We have that interview talking about just coming back to Indy after 11 months of celebrating this victory that he had in the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500. How hungry he is to come back to win again this year. And he also gives us his Stanley Cup playoff prediction. So if you're a hockey fan, be sure to check that out. But love Marcus Ericsson to death. He's been great to Burnout. He's been great to me. He's been great to, I know, the Indy boys, and just a grand champion. And we'll see what happens here in 30 days from this Friday when the green flag falls for the 107th running of the Indianapolis 500. All right, moving on. Next topic, Alabama this weekend. 3 o'clock start on Sunday, NBC. Alabama, I mean, we saw it in that first practice session on Friday afternoon. Cars going off. Will Palmer made contact. Pato Award, fastest hands in the sport right now. Ended up taking out a few of those Good Ranchers meat signs in practice sessions today. Tomorrow we'll have qualifying. We will have you covered. Burnout Bets. Don't forget to like and follow us on Twitter. We'll have a Twitter space coming up Friday night, and then Saturday after qualifying, and then Sunday we'll get you ready for the race. The Indy boys will have you covered all weekend as well. Plenty of motorsports action, not just IndyCar. You'll also have Formula One, and the NASCAR, I believe, is in Darlington. Let's talk about a few drivers that need good results here in Alabama before we head to the month of May in getting into the road course Grand Prix, obviously, then qualifying and the Indianapolis 500. I'm going to start with Scott McLaughlin, a guy that we just discussed. It has not been a good start to the season, just one top 10. Obviously, he was in contention in Alabama to win that race, and he got into it with Romain Grosjean coming out of the pits there. I just think that he needs a result. And, maybe you're not thinking about championship points right now. It's probably a little bit too soon. But he hasn't been great at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, both road course and the Indianapolis 500. So right now I'm looking first and foremost at Scott McLaughlin. Then I'm looking at Ed Carpenter Racing, and I am looking at Rahal Letterman-Lanigan Racing. Christian Lundgaard was up there in the speed charts. I believe he was 6th in that first practice today. But look, this is a guy in Christian Lundgaard who can win races, and he's so good at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, which translates over to what you can do at Alabama. Alabama and the IMS road course probably the two most similar tracks in comparison-wise. So looking for Rahal Letterman-Lanigan to step up. Graham Rahal's been good there. He was dominant a few years ago. Jack Harvey is desperate for a good result. And I'm going to put Jack Harvey on the hot seat. We talked about him a few weeks ago before we ran at Long Beach. Jack Harvey is on the hot seat. Look, you've got some F2 drivers that we know Rahal's been talking to. You got Catherine Legg that's kind of sitting there going, hey, if I can have a good run in the Indianapolis 500, maybe that propels me into some more runs. Linus Lundqvist, who is the next champion from last year, right there, ready to go. Already tested for the team at Texas Motor Speedway. So I'm looking at Rinus VeeKay as well. Top 10 in the speed charts early in that practice. I think he ended up 11th in P1 earlier today. Rinus was great at Alabama last year. Dominated the race really before finishing second or third, but right there on the podium. Paddle Award is your winner last year. And this could end up being the Joseph Newgarden and Paddle Award kind of runaway show again, kind of what we saw at Texas. These are the best two drivers at this track. I know Scott Dixon's average finish is like 3.6, but he's never won at Barber, which is crazy to think all the accomplishments that he has had, that he has not won at the Barber Motorsports Park. And then Joseph's going to be right there as well. Did not have the result in Long Beach that he was looking for. Did not have the result at St. Pete that he was looking for. Wins at Texas, kind of sandwich in between. So, and Pato hasn't won. He's been very consistent besides that wreck, knocking out Scott Dixon at Long Beach. So, they were talking about this on the broadcast today. Just one driver, Alex Palou, is the only driver through the first 3 races to finish every lap, and that's incredible. Usually there's 3 or 4 guys towards the end of the year that you kind of start seeing the stat. Like, hey, they've completed all the laps. They haven't had a DNF. They finished on the lead lap. And that's really what got Will Power his championship last year. And Will Power's championship last year, if you look back at it, the run really started here at Alabama. Qualified 14th, ended up finishing 4th, taking that 14th place car, driving it to 4th. And that's what you got to do in a championship season. If you don't have the best car or you don't have a car to win, you take the results you can get, which is what Marcus Ericsson has done. Obviously, he won at St. Pete, come back at Texas, top 8 finish, and then was really good in Southern California at Long Beach, finishing, I believe, 4th. So, and we talked to him in that interview, and he said, Texas probably wasn't what we wanted, but again, we took the result that we had in front of us, and that's why we are winning the championship. So, should be a great race. Qualifying coming up on Saturday. Don't forget on Sunday on NBC. Be sure to lock it in just after 3 o'clock Eastern time. We'll go green. We have an awesome contest for you on the Fans Place to win another awesome throwback T-shirt. Shout out to Daniel Chaney, one of the Indy boys. Won last week's contest at Long Beach. He's got a nice Rick Mears throwback shirt coming. So thanks for the shop. Be sure to download the Fans Place app powered by Burnout Sports. We'll have a lot more contests throughout the month of May. Have some autograph sessions coming up with Michelob Ultra with Connor Daly. We're going to announce those coming up on Monday. So I hope you'll come out, check those out, and win some awesome prizes meeting Connor Daly through Michelob Ultra. So can't wait for that. It's been a while since we talked about Indy Next. I know there was a test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway 3 weeks ago. I discussed that in last week's episode heading into Long Beach. Rasmus Lindh is a driver who has a lot of talent, does not have the funding to run this weekend. So that baseball team that we see at HMD Motorsports is now down to just eight guys out. Christian Rasmussen was fastest in practice. It's one of my guys. He should be around. Great start for Jacob Abel. He was on the podium down at St. Pete in the first race of the season. We know the Abel Motorsports brand is growing. They will enter the Indianapolis 500 as the 34th entry with R.C. Enerson. We'll see what they can do if they can get in. And just looking forward to supporting Indy next. There's a lot of great drivers. You think about Kyle Kirkwood and who won a couple weeks ago at Long Beach that we talked about. Renus VK, Colton Herta. These are drivers that cut their teeth at the time was Indy Lights. Now it's Indy next. And looking forward to that race coming up on Sunday afternoon, 12:50 on Peacock. So be sure to support that. Then they'll have a race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course with the rest of the Road to Indy Ladder Series. And then they will have 2 races on the new street circuit in downtown Detroit. All right. Look, May is almost here. We always talk about Alabama, right? It's like, yeah, you still got a race, but it feels like it's May. You had the test. You had a lot of drivers in town last week. Rev coming up next Saturday. The Indy boys and I will be out there. We're going to interview some drivers, try some foods, have a great time, mingle with everybody out there, and just it really kicks off the month of May for a great cause and the IU Foundation and the money that they raise to support not only the hospital and the community that brings to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway inside of the grounds of IMS, but everything they do traveling the circuit with IndyCar, and just a benefit for those awesome behind-the-scenes heroes of the NTT IndyCar series. So looking forward to that. We're 2 weeks away from practice opening up on the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's going to be awesome. It's starting to feel like May. We learned the Indy 500 qualifying format is going to pretty much be the same as we saw last year. So qualifying for the 500 last year without any bumping, they wanted to spice up that top 9. They changed it to a top 12, which I thought was really cool because that margin from 9th to 12th was super close. And really, you're looking at that margin from 9th to 15th, right? You're looking for, okay, I'm 14th. I don't think I can make that jump in a qualifying run to qualify inside that top 9, but I can certainly make that jump from 14th to 12th or 13th to 11th or 15th or 16th to 12th. We've seen it happen in the past. So there's going to be drama with that. On Sunday, you're going to have that top 12 go out. 13th through 30th will be locked in Saturday night when we close the doors at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll come back. Those 13 to 30 drivers will pretty much have the day off. They will have another practice on Monday. I know they took it away last year, had that final practice before Carb Day on Sunday afternoon. They're going to move that to Monday again, which I love. That's one of my favorite practices. Carb Day is a great practice, but when you got the full day to be in race trim, fuel tank, full fuel tank runs, is always an exciting practice. But back to the qualifying format, you'll have 1 through 12 go back out, and then that'll lock in spots 7 through 12. And then those 1 through 6 drivers, those first 2 rows that are going to go back out for the pole, there won't be a 20-minute little gap. They're going to give them some time, which I think is a great idea, to give them a little bit of time to cool the engines off, make a little bit of adjustments, make sure everything's tidied up. That's when they'll run that back row shootout. So we talk about bumping and getting from 34th to 33rd. It's really a back row shootout. It's that entire 11th row, positions 30 through 34th, will go back out, qualify again. That's how we will determine that final 30, 31, 32, and 33. So that last row will go out again, and we'll know who the 34th driver on the outside looking in is. I believe it's about an hour qualifying time limit there, and each driver from 31st, 32nd, 33rd. I think I said 30th earlier. So it's 33rd through 31 through 34th. We'll get to go out, and everybody gets at least one attempt. And then I think we'll see that person 34th on the outside looking in at least make another attempt or 2. That'll spice up some drama. Then we'll bring the big boys back out and run, or it could be girl. Catherine Lake does have speed. Not sure that car is going to be there. We'll talk about that at a later date. But yes, looking forward to qualifying. It's going to be awesome. That last evening session will be a run for the roses, so to speak, run for that pole position. We know that points will be handed out for qualifying, as we're down to single points for the Indianapolis 500. That was announced a few months ago, no double points. So looking forward to it. Can't wait. Big weekend ahead at Barber. My pick, I'm going to go back to the well here. I think Marcus Ericsson has just been firing on all cylinders. I think he gets another win. He'll be battling his teammate Alex Palou and Scott Dixon. Joseph Newgarden will be there. I want to see some strides from Scott McLaughlin and even Will Power, who hasn't gotten off to the best start. And we'll see some of those drivers that we were talking about. Can they step up, move forward? Those are the Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan racing drivers, as well as the Ed Carpenter racing drivers. I mean, we really haven't heard too much from Connor Daly this season. Renus VK has been a bit hit or miss, more so missed than anything. All right, let's wrap up the show and check out the Burnout Sports Power Rankings coming off of Long Beach, where Kyle Kirkwood was victorious. Marcus Ericsson, still number one for me. Mr. Consistent all year, leading the points, has a victory. I have Joseph Newgarden second. I know people are saying, well, wait a minute. Yeah, he won at Texas. But he's still number two for me. He's still going to be a championship contender going into Barber. Great track for him. I got Kyle Kirkwood third. What can he do in his first race out after winning on the streets of Long Beach? Pato Award is right there as well in the top four. We'll see how much this change is coming off of Alabama this weekend. Again, looking for Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing to show me something. Ed Carpenter Racing. I've got Marcus Ericsson to win this thing this weekend. We have you covered. The Indy Boys, Burnout Sports, Burnout Bets. The Fans Place has an awesome contest for you as well. Be sure to like and follow. Thanks so much for listening. Send us your predictions as well. Enjoy all the racing coming up this weekend.